Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode with HangarControl, your application that will control all of your simulation and PC gaming needs by the time this software releases. I've added a couple new features to this and I want to show you guys more about this software as we get closer and closer to release, start giving you some ideas on some of the more advanced things it can do to help you guys with your simulation needs while keeping things simple. Stick around. If you are interested in any of my tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator or simply interested in supporting the channel, consider joining me on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides as well as any future guides that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below. All right, folks, so once again, thank you guys for tuning in to this HangarControl episode. For those of you who are still catching up, HangarControl is a software that I am developing that is going to be multi-purpose PC simulation gaming application that's going to be able to control just about anything. Everything from launching your Windows to launching your applications, sorting your windows, sizing them, positioning them correctly every time that you launch them by creating profiles, as well as handling your mods, your profiles, your edits, and while maintaining backups of the original thing. We're even going to be doing DCS world window exports, all kinds of stuff, you guys. It's going to be a very powerful software. But one of the things that spawned its initial conception is the control bindings. It's going to be a software used much like SPAD.NET, Axis and O's, etc. that will control all of your, or give you a tool to bind all of your tools and your buttons, etc. So we're going to go into control bindings today. And you guys can see I have the TBM 850 profile selected, but it really doesn't matter. We're going to move over to the Cessna 172 here. I'm going to choose some devices here that I want to use for today's demo. We're going to be messing with the Bravo throttle quadrant, and I'm going to be using the Rote Air encoder. So we're going to hit save there. This is all we're going to do for today's episode. What we're going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you guys what I'm calling as conditional binding. Basically giving you the option of almost limitless binding options with limited equipment. So we're going to say that we only have these devices here. And what I really want you guys to think about is with this Rote Air, for those of you who don't know, this is an encoder platform. It has 4 dual encoders on it, but we're going to pretend like we only have one. Okay, and this could be something as simple as, for example, Knobster. Okay, and this will make a very easy way of handling that. So I'm going to show you guys how we would do that and how we can use this software to control multiple items with a single button, or with a flip of a switch being able to create an entirely new set of bindings very, very simply. Okay, so what I'm going to show you guys how to do now is conditional binding, which essentially gives you far more options to use a single button, switcher, etc. to do far more functions. For example, with a single button or a single switch is what I would recommend for this particular kind of configuration I'm going to show you guys today, is how to take flip a single switch up and have all of your controls be able to do something completely different. Basically a complete profile switch if you wanted. This is going to be really handy, especially for those of you who have limited space and don't have a lot of controls. You've only got a few peripherals around and you need them to be able to do more. In our case, what we're going to do is we're going to simulate that we're using a single encoder. Now here we're using the Rote Air, or the Rote Air encoder set. So it's got 4 dual encoders with push buttons, but we're going to simulate we only have a single encoder. So just a knob that goes left and a knob that goes right. Okay, that's all it does. That's what we're going to simulate today so I can show you guys the best use of this. But you guys, I'm sure, can think of a bunch of different ways to use this stuff. So you can see we have this is turning it right. This is turning our knob left. We're going to use this as our example today. So we're going to go into our button, we're going to choose Sim Connect, and we're going to start with the heading bug, okay? When I turn it left, we want it to set our heading left. When we turn it right, we want the heading bug to go right. So we're going to go Sim Connect, we're going to go pick. We're going to come in here, and we're just going to look for heading. And where are you? Heading bug increase. That's what we're going to pick here. All right, and we're going to hit save. Let's go button 10. Sim Connect, pick, and then we're going to go heading bug decrease. The heading bug's an easy one. Okay. Oh, I think I clicked the wrong thing. I totally did. There we go. All right, and we're going to hit save. And let's go ahead and test that. You can see there's the bug going left. There's the bug going to the right. Or however you want to do that. Technically, that's going left. This is going right. Right? Right. Okay, so now let's add a second condition. Again, we've only got this one rotary, right? This one encoder that goes left and right, and I also want it to be able to do the altitude. Now, with altitude bug, there's a bit of a difference. You have to actually have a binding that selects the altitude bug in this particular aircraft. So that I already have bound, and I'll show you guys that real quick. If we come over here to the Bravo throttle quadrant, just like we would normally would, we have altitude bug select, and that selects the bug. That's the first part that has to be done. I think even with SPAD and X's and O's, you still have to use that right now for most aircraft. The bigger airplanes, 737 from PMDG and things like that, are a little bit different. That's because they have their independent coding for those. For example, the MCP. So coming back over here, we still want to be able to use it. So we know that we can select the altitude bug. So I'm going to make sure that I trigger that now. So I flipped that switch so that the way the altitude bug is selected. But we need to make sure that these two buttons can now use it. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here. We're going to go to condition. What is the condition for this to work? In our case, we're using a button state, but you can also use LVAR events. Like, for example, I could probably set it to where the altitude bug is selected. But we're going to come here. We're going to find our Bravo. And what we're going to do is I'm going to look for this switch right here. You can see this is the switch down. And this is the switch on. When the switch is on, I want that same encoder that we're using to control our altitude target. So we're going to select button 34 by left clicking on it. It highlights there, hit OK. You see if button 34 is held because we had that checkbox checked. And then what action do you want me to take? This one is a little bit more simple to find. It's just plus. It's a little unintuitive, but this is the way they have it drawn out. So we're going to go plus. When you hit OK, boom, +1 sets the variable. Here we go. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Condition, right? We're going to find the Bravo again. Still want that same thing, 34. When it's on, our action, we now want minus. Oops. And this also is the same thing that's used for like sim rate and things like that. So we're going to hit save. And so now, when I flip that switch off, we come in here. It still controls our heading bug. But now I'm going to take that same switch, switch number 34, I'm going to flip it up. And when I turn the rotor now, we're now controlling our altitude. So this is just a quick method to provide more functionality for someone who has a limited amount of controls. Because you could set all of your controls up except leaving that one switch behind. That way you have something to use to trigger a new series of events. Without getting too complicated. Now, there's plenty of other ways we can do this. Don't forget that HangarControl also has a sequence ability, right? We can come in here and we can create an entire sequence of things to do with a single push of a button, right? But this is just another way of making that work, depending on what your goals are. And this works for both the sim events, and this also works for keyboard commands. So another way where this will be really helpful is in DCS World. You know, I remember when I first started flying in DCS World, I had just a simple throttle and a simple flight stick, and that was all that I had. And this would have been a real nice game changer because it would have been the ability to flip a single switch, and I could have had like sort of an environment for when I'm landing or taking off, and then I could have had flipped a switch, and then it basically all my controls, if you will, would be combat ready, right? So maybe something that was previously controlling the flaps would now be my master arm. I don't know. You guys get the idea. But anyway, this is just another advantage that I wanted to show you guys of this particular software that will make things a bit easier to bind multiple controls. Now, what I really wanted, guys, I really wanted your feedback. So let me know what your thoughts are on this process. If you'd like to see some enhancements to it. Again, we're getting very, very close to the release of this software. It will be available once the website goes live. You guys will obviously be announced of that or informed of that. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are, what other things that you guys would like to see. There's tons of abilities here. Again, these conditions can be set to just about anything. I have these lines in each one. I was thinking about adding multiple sequences. If you guys wanted to add multiple lines, basically you set one here, set your condition, and once that's set, another one would appear. You also have the ability that we've added to ignore a button. There are certain situations where I have seen, based on driver reports and things like that, that buttons illuminate as on when they are not, and some can sometimes cause problems with some older games and simulators. Not so much the newer stuff, but it also has the ability to ignore that. So if you have a button that's being problematic, you would open up, click ignore, and the software will completely ignore any input from that particular button. If you've got a button that's ghosting, maybe some old hardware that's causing some problems, this is an advantage to do that. It was just something that I remember dealing with a very, very long time ago with the X55 that I thought would be kind of cool to throw in there. Probably won't be used often, and you can set it to ignore globally amongst all profiles, or just for that particular profile if you wish. But anyway, another cool feature that I just wanted to add in and toss in there with you guys. I'm super excited. We are getting very, very close, as I said, to the release. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are down below. Other things that you guys would like to see. Make sure you guys join the Discord. If you want to communicate with me direct or throw your thoughts into chat. I am watching chat and I am trying to implement certain things. A few of the things that I'm working on right now as we speak is integration with the Stream Deck XL. Now, right now, that's the only Stream Deck that I have, but I am working on getting that into the application. You guys can see here again the main menu. We're getting ready to wire in the other apps. We have a couple more down here that are going to be added as well. So super exciting time. I really appreciate a lot of you guys' support. I know I've gotten a lot of feedback already, a lot of excitement about the app. I'm really appreciating and loving the comments that are coming back. And by the way, for those who don't know, don't worry about the yellow highlight. That will not be there at the time of launch. That is because I am launching it from the development software. But anyways, as always, guys, you know the drill. Stay safe and healthy, and I shall see you in the next one.